Hey everyone, thank you for joining me here today on Retro Geek Gaming. Um, Today we're going to talk about something that I've recently seen show up, and I followed the link here to go to it. So we're just going to talk about it real quick, and basically it just talks about how Sony may be working to make old peripherals compatible with the PlayStation 5, which I just think is going to be spectacular if they do this. Um, it, it, Now, of course, with these patents, companies patent stuff all the time. Nintendo continues to keep the patent for Eternal Darkness, for an example, and nothing ever comes from that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see anything from this, but I think this would be really good and make the PlayStation 5 just so much better if they do it. So let me go ahead and just bring up the the site here. This all comes, of course, to us through NeoGAF, and of course, I just want to go ahead and just reiterate again to just keep all this with a grain of salt until we actually see it come from Sony, like I do with everything else. So we're going to go ahead and transition over here. And you're going to see that a patent that was filed on June 30th by Sony Entertainment titled Systems and Methods for Converting a Legacy Code into an Updated Code outlines a video game emulation process that Sony may potentially employ in the near future. And it just basically just talks about how it outlines methods to emulate software that made use of peripherals like the iToy, the PS Mouse, the PlayStation Go, and something that's entitled a legacy card reader, which when I think of that I instantly think of things like maybe reading PS1 and PS2 memory cards to bring your save games over to the new PlayStation Plus subscription. That's what I think of. I also think of stuff like how the PS3 used to hold like the Pro Duo and SD cards and stuff like that. So maybe that's something they can plug into the PS5 that can pull over. So it's hard to know exactly what Sony has in mind when it comes to this, but it does seem to indicate that they're trying to work on official emulation of older PlayStation stuff, including the physical memory cards. That does sound like a very meticulous process, but I think it'd be good because if you think of stuff like how they have like I think it was on right here. They have like the Move controller showing. This could potentially be that they're going to have PSVR 1 games be backwards compatible with PSVR 2, and all you need to do is use the Move controllers. Just stuff like that. I think that it would be kind of nice if they did that. So, concerning the emulation, I think it'd be good because I mean we have stuff already like the PSP, the PS1, PS2, and all that stuff. And of course, you can see here legacy card reader. It looks like something that looks like a PS1 or PS2 era memory card, and of course discs. So, if all this is to using a mouse and a keyboard, using older, I don't know why you'd want to use older media, especially because the PS5 has its own. The PS5 has its own. What you call it? Why can't I think about it right now? It has its own media remote. There we go, for controlling stuff. I don't know why you'd want to go back and use like a PS3 or PS4 one, but I guess they just want to have that as an option in there. But yeah, I think that this was going to be something that's going to be really good to see them incorporate. Because I mean, yeah, sure, you have a PS5 HD camera now that you can use, but that's mostly for streaming. What if you bring over the PS4 camera or the PS3 camera, the PlayStation Eye or the PS2's PlayStation Eye, and you have those games work? I think that'd be pretty cool. Like, can you imagine if you want? I mean, you don't have much of a reason to anymore, but wouldn't it be kind of interesting if you could go back and do, say, like, what was that game that I used with the Move controller and the navigation controller? It was some kind of underwater game. I don't remember what it was now. I would know it if I heard the title. But just if you wanted to do stuff like that, like you want to go back and play an old sports game, and you just hook up your PlayStation 3 camera, and you just use the Move controller, and you play golf, or you play some sports games on it. through the emulation of the cloud or through the backwards compatibility that I think that they're going to work on. I think stuff like that would be interesting for them to do. And of course, it's really going to depend upon what Sony does with it. Whether they're just going to go full backwards compatible and allow you to, because I mean, you can always think like PS4 controllers, for an example, to play PS4 games. Will you be able to sync PS3? I mean, you don't have really much of a reason to, because the controllers are basically similar, and a PS4 and PS5 controller can do a lot of the same stuff that the PS3 could do. So, and the PS2 and PS1 were simple, and they're also wired. But if you could bring back like the older accessories, like the PS3 had that little one that you could plug in, it was wired, and you could just then pop in a PS2 controller and use it. Stuff like that would be good to use, but I think it's really more having the card reader that can read PS1, PS2 data. So if you want to continue Jak and Daxter through PS5 on the PlayStation Plus service, you just bring your save game over and continue it. I think it'd be cool. But again, it's really going to depend upon what we're going to do, because it's more along the lines of what Nintendo's doing with like bringing back the Nintendo 64 controller and the Super Nintendo controller as wireless options. And I feel like Microsoft is also kind of missing out on this, because I understand that the Kinect didn't work out for them, but the fact that we don't have Kinect games on like Game Pass that can be played, or games like if you are playing the Mass Effect games, that you can't use the Kinect in some capacity to do like voice commands with it, just as an option. I understand it wasn't very successful for them, so of course they're not going to continue to support it anymore, but it would be nice, because I mean, even if something isn't successful, there might be a market for it somewhere down the road. Like for an example, again, we just saw the Move controller on here. We saw the PlayStation Eye camera. That stuff didn't really work out too well for Sony, but they continued to use the Move controllers for the PlayStation VR, and apparently they're looking into continuing to use it now with the PS5. So I guess it's going to depend on how they use it in the long term, But that's just my thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and link the article in the description down below so you guys can check out the article for yourself. And of course, feel free to leave your thoughts and feedback on this topic. Do you want to see Sony, like me, just go full blown backwards compatible, bring all the stuff over, and allow you to just connect stuff through Bluetooth or through different adapters to play it? Because for me, if I could just simply pull out my navigation controller and Move controller and just plug it into the PS5 and play a game again like how I used to on the PS3, that would be nice. Go back and do something like Dark Side Chronicles, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles or something. Just do those games again. And yeah, I can use a controller for them, but sometimes it's nice just to go back and use the original controller that was meant to be. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm alone on that. But what do you guys think? Make sure you put it down in the comments down below. Like this video if you did like this and want to see more stuff like this. And of course, feel free to subscribe. Of course, there's no pressure from me. I appreciate all the support that I can get. Appreciate any views that I can get, any subs that I can get. But if you do like this content, I do try to make stuff like this. I'm probably going to do it 3 times a week. I'm thinking Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays currently, unless of course stuff changes with my schedule, or something comes up with the family to where I can't post that day. I'm thinking I'm going to try to do at least 3 times a week, if not once a week, like I've been doing. So feel free to come along on the ride with me. I'd love to have you guys come along. And have a good week, guys. Enjoy the 4th of July, and I'll see you next time.